achieving things, let's say tomorrow, no promotion, there's no accomplishments, nothing impressive to point to. Yes. The question is, would your life still have meaning?
Well, that's an uncomfortable thing to think about, because most of us, myself included, have been taught that our value comes from, what we produce, what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, even from a very young age, we're asked, okay, what do you want to be or do when you grow up? I mean, I'm guilty of that even with my daughter. So anyway, welcome back to another episode of Life, What Is It Good For? Today we're talking about something, I don't even know if I'd say it's different, because I think we've hinted at this before, but the idea of living a life that we don't necessarily need to prove to others, to ourselves, a life that doesn't need to prove itself.
On asking the question, what happens when you stop trying to prove that your life matters? And what does it mean when we say life matters?
Well, yeah, I mean, this really has been on my mind, particularly this past month and a half, because I mean, it's been about that long since you and I have even recorded, because of a lot of health struggles I've had. I know you've had some too as well. And in that space of being forced to do the bare minimum, to do things out of the ordinary, it really made me stop and think, okay, or at least question how I am measuring my life. And that's sort of where this conversation, I guess, really started for me. And I know you've been working on putting together some information on this topic as well. But I've really been struggling off and on for many years, but particularly this past month and a half, of if I'm not doing anything, if I'm doing nothing, does my life matter? Does my life have value and meaning? Especially when you are forced from a physical health perspective into that state. And then you have like this inner tug of war, particularly when you've got your father's voice in your head from years back saying, you need to get better, you need to get up, or you will lose your husband. That plays over and over in my head. And there's like this slight fear of, okay, if I'm not doing enough, if I'm not measuring up, then my life doesn't have enough value and meaning.
Yeah. We tend to go through the same things at the same time, and I don't know what triggers it.
Yes.
And so it's just really, really odd. The entirety of the last month and a half since we recorded
Hmm.
has been emotional, spiritual deviation from the norm that has been me for, I guess 2 decades now. And not that anything glorious has happened, it may have just been a deeper awareness of how much fear has been driving my life,
Mm.
the decisions I make, just going into any normal conversations. There's a lot of fear and anxiety because I'm constantly scanning, how are you judging my performance? And I keep coming back to this, and it's like a layer, like an onion. I keep peeling out more and more
Yes.
layers of myself, of how much of me has just been done entirely out of fear, self-judgment, and it's based upon, well, if I don't do it this good, then the outcome is going to be unpredictable at best, or I'm going to be unsafe.
Hmm.
And so much so that, and I think you and I are very similar like this, everything we do is 125% is overboard. My wife is constantly telling me, don't try so hard.
Yes.
Really. And, I'm getting ready to teach a college class in business and accounting, and I was talking with the chair the other day about planning out all the curriculum, and he's like, "You're going to do what?" And he's like, 'cause my goal was to have all of these exercises planned out and make all these training tutorial videos and just a lot of stuff. He goes, "Yeah, man, that's a lot of work." He goes, "Good luck." And so, he wasn't criticizing me whatsoever. It took me a whole day to process because I was upset at first. I was like, I am putting my best foot forward because I'm gonna make this the best class." And you should as a teacher, I've had those teachers in college that just were, like, not involved whatsoever.
Yeah.
What I'm sharing this to say is it was once again in my life where I saw something that shouldn't be very difficult. I've made it really, really intense because I am just diving on. One of the episodes you and I recorded at the lake house with 3 or 4 videos, and your husband's sitting over there shaking his head. None of this is necessary. None of this, we're
Yeah.
just really, really. Why? Because we're judging the outcome. I mean, we judge the outcome of these little episodes we put in them. Was the volume right? Was the lighting right? Was the camera fuzzy? And and then we're comparing this little setup with someone that's got a $50,000 studio over there. So we're constantly on this edge of
Yeah.
self judgment because of the output. And I think what's happened with me in the last 2 months has just been an awareness of how exhausted I am.
Yes.
Where every normal day task
Mhm.
feel like I'm climbing up a hill as a quadriplegic. I just about can't move because everything is so hard. Like if I'm cleaning the house, I'm just judging everything that I'm going. This, oh, I missed the spot. This is, or if I'm writing an email to a client, and I'm spending 30 minutes on an email because it's just not perfect. And I think I've reached the point in my life where I just want to go. I can't breathe. And I just told my wife this morning. I think most of my troubles in life have not come because of life I had troubles. I think I've made them twice as hard because of what's going on in here.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
I can't go to the grocery store unless I have a suit jacket on.
Mm.
So that's so what I'm sharing all that to say this. My awareness of how much my identity has been wrapped up in what have I achieved, on how am I being perceived,
Mm.
and I can honestly say here, how old am I? Am I 44? Yes, I just turned 40. I'm
Yeah.
44.
Yeah.
Yeah, 82. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I've done anything in my life out of pure joy as much as I've done it out of, if I do this, I'm going to be perceived as something of value. It's going to either make me safe or it's going to make me feel like I'm accepted by other people.
But what do you think is driving us to constantly have that sense of urgency that we've got to prove our
Mm.
self-worth, our value to
Well,
others? And
you and I both have been down this rabbit trail time and time again. We read our share of psychology books. I've done studies myself and
yeah.
degrees in this. And even if you come up with an answer about, well, that's in the past caused it, still doesn't mean it gets rid of the programming that's now. So I like to turn my attention to why am I thinking this way now? Why am I
Right.
so just OCD about just every little thing, and it's so exhausting, and constantly reading into social environments. Um, you know, if you're trying to get like someone like me, you're trying to get a job in today's market. Let's say you're going through the interview process.
Mhm.
You read so much into it, you just get yourself into a nervous wreck. Or if you're going into a new social setting that you haven't been before, everything in you is screaming, well, if I don't look the right way, if I don't say the right thing, then I'm not going to be accepted. You're just constantly scanning to see if you're safe. And I think the growth that's next for me is being able to turn that off. And I
Yeah.
don't know how to turn that off because that's been the only mode of existence I've ever known in everything.
Hmm.
You know, why am I working so hard to do something for my wife? Is it out of love? It's because I need to impress her so I can have another check mark on her ledger of how good I am.
Yeah.
And so, how stressful that is.
Mhm.
And so, constantly, this constant subtle pressure of perform or prove. And
Yeah.
that wasn't just career; that was relationships, right?
Yeah.
You know. both of you and I struggle probably the same way. Are we making as much contributions as our spouses are making in our lives?
Mm,
And I'm constantly evaluating,
mhm.
well, what do I bring to the table?
Yep.
I'm always seeing every bit of liability baggage that I have there. Um, I and anytime well, like this is a prime example. Like less than an hour and a half ago, I raced downstairs to help my wife put up groceries, and we'll walk through this process here. Just a glimpse of what's going on inside me. Open the refrigerator door, and I'm trying to move something. I got my hands full, and we had just purchased the other day some nice soda cream type. I really love it from World Market. Really good stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm not, and one of the I move something, and one of the bottles fall, and I can't catch it, and it breaks.
Mm.
I mean, it just shatters on that tile
Yeah.
floor down there. Glass everywhere, sugary, creamy drink
Yeah.
everywhere. And in that moment, I'm no longer helping put up the groceries. I have created a mess. She can't get to the refrigerator because it's all over the floor. So she's standing there, and this is how I'm going through the process of my mind. I froze. I really thought I was just going to get reprimanded
Mm.
because not only I can no longer help put up the groceries. This is all these thoughts going through my mind in a split second. I've not only wasted money because I've broken something that I've got to take 15 minutes to clean all this up.
Yeah.
So I have delayed the entire process. And in the words of Johnny Depp, I have been less than unhelpful in this moment. Not only can I not help put up the groceries, but I've proven myself to be, once again, in that moment, every moment in my life where I've been clumsy, helping daddy on the job sites, boy, go home, you can't do it. I just felt just horrible inside. I didn't tell her all
Yeah.
this. I just felt really, really bad because I dropped the bottle.
Well, this sort of
Why
goes back to that last episode that we released about the imposter syndrome, those old mirrors that pop up.
Oh,
That
yeah, that's exactly what's going on. That's a great
yeah.
analogy. But that tiny moment happens to me all day long.
Mm.
So you're constantly in knots on everything. And I spend half my day apologizing for things I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
Mm.
Why? Because I feel very stupid. And I thought that, well, here I'm starting my PhD program. And so this would be my seventh, eighth college stuff I've done. And I always thought when I got to this level that I wouldn't have that. It just made it worse
Mm.
because it made me aware of what I don't know. Now there's a spiritual longing to find meaning that's not attached to my job, not attached to my role. Because what you're getting at when you ask this question, what if meaning is earned? We're not too far away from the question, and watch me go down this rabbit trail here.
It wouldn't be right if you did.
Thank you. We ask, well, who are you? You are not
Yep.
far removed ontologically, existentially from the next question of what are you? That is the journey I've been down the last month and a half on what am I? Not who am
Mm.
I? Who am I? We answer these, who are you? Well, I can list them out. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm an uncle. I'm an accountant. I'm a musician. I'm a writer. I'm a business advisor. I am a collector of college degrees because I have such a low self-esteem. I got to make myself feel important by having very expensive papers hanging up on my wall that say degrees. I am a lover of food. I like going to nice restaurants and got. They didn't answer the question. Those are all roles.
Well, you've got two layers. It's funny that you're doing this because I literally was doing this last night. I wrote down, who am I? And I got layer one and I got layer two.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
do versus who you are.
Yes,
Because
because
you've
it's the
got one
role.
thing that's external and you've got
Yeah.
another that's internal.
Yes. Yes.
So I love that we're like this.
Hey, okay. No one's gonna get this unless you watch this show. Unagi.
Yes.
Salmon skin roll.
Ooh, sushi.
Hey, I've recently started eating sushi. Not the raw kind, like the California roll stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
I love that we're on this same page here. I wrote down a note of I'm exploring how to find value when life doesn't allow me to do what I want to do.
Oh, man. Every quadriplegic, every person that's been in an accident, whose life has totally changed, they can no longer do what they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
is maybe constantly going down this road. When your life is entirely upended and you can no longer, or maybe you never have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate test of the search for meaning. And either you're going to drown it in your sorrows of some existential junk because you can't answer the question, or you're going to find yourself. I'm curious where your thoughts are leading you on this one. I won't jump ahead. Go for it.
My thoughts are not completed yet. It's still a work in progress.
Now, let me talk to you about that work in progress. You know about you and my own emotional, spiritual journey, and that we have ended up taking the same route, except mine has always been a few steps down the road.
Yeah, you've
Not
always
because,
been a bit ahead of me in the
not because
timing.
I'm better, that this is timing and it's still staying true. All right, so let me tell you where this road leads you. When you deal with this question of what am I, and we're stripping away all the roles, stripping away all the abilities. In my case, take away the accountant, take away the teacher, take away the musician, take away keep on going down the road there of ideas. What am I left with? You have two camps that you're gonna land in. You're gonna land in the strict materialistic view. This is all that there is, and I gotta make the best of it. Or you're gonna have the deterministic column. This has been determined. This has value in it, and this is where you're gonna philosophically, psychologically, find your way back to Sunday school, where we were answering the question, whether God is one or not. Am I a created entity or am I not? Materialistic column, I'm an entire freak of accident. 100%. This is just the roll of the dice, and I've been given this bad luck. And then you can make the best of it. Or you at some point start asking the question, am I made? Am I designed? Am I created? Leads us down a whole different pathway. And that pathway, philosophically for me, just pure theory arguments, has greater pathway to meaning than the mere existence of I'm just a ball of flesh. That's all I am. That hits a dead wall with me pretty soon. So without shoving religious viewpoints down anyone's throat, when we start asking this question about meaning, I don't think you can get too far from that question. And that's for the listener to decide for themselves. And then if we find ourselves in this deterministic type of design camp, I have a whole host of preceding thoughts and a commentary on that. If we say, I am in the materialistic camp, and once I'm dead, and that's all there is to it, I don't have any comments. I have no recommendations on value other than you're living in the now and doing the best that you can with what you got. And if you happen to be very wealthy, very healthy, and things are going your way, there's your level of happiness and peace. If you're not, you're trying to psych yourself out into saying, oh, I'm finding beauty in the small things. I've heard those arguments, and it works for you. It's great. But I think at some point you're gonna hit a dead wall on meaning. And so
I think I know where you're going with this. I feel like
Yep.
I'm slightly on a different path.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
approaching
go
it
down
from
your-
a slightly different perspective.
Yep.
Like I was having a conversation with Jeremy, and ever since I've known him, I mean, he's he's been in college in some capacity off and on, it seems. He got his bachelor's degree. He went on to get his master's degree. He's got his PhD. He joined the military. He's always been working toward something.
Yeah.
And he finds enjoyment in that. He finds fulfillment in that.
Sure.
He finds purpose in that. But now, I mean, he's out of the military. He's completed his all of his check marks as far as he wanted to get his master's, get his bachelor or his PhD, and he's in a really great job. And he's like, okay, now what? I was like, now we get to enjoy life. But he doesn't know how to transition from that doing, that productivity to
Mhm.
this nothing that I've been forced into.
Mhm.
Uh,
Being able
I
to
let
rest and just exist
Well,
and
he
find
does know to some degree, but I think it leaves a sense of it after a little while, it leaves a sense of it's not guilt. It's just like lack of purpose, lack of direction because we're
mm,
not going anywhere. It's like, no, we don't have to go anywhere. We've done what
mm,
you've set out to do. You've
mhm,
accomplished those things. Now we get to be. And I
mhm,
love what Thomas Merton, I hope I'm pronouncing is a monk and theologian.
mhm.
He said,
Yeah, man.
"We are so obsessed with doing that we have no time and no imagination left for being."
Mhm.
And he goes on to say that people end up being valued for what they do versus or rather than for who they are. That's what got me to thinking about who am I outside of that doing lens.
Yeah.
And I I know when I say nothing, I don't mean there's actually nothing happening, but nothing in the sense of what we as society are used to measuring life by,
No, yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as the production, the productivity, the achievements that are being made.
Mhm.
I drew out this little diagram. I think you might be able to see it on your end, where you've got the measurement lens, where how we evaluate life and are judging our day-to-day activities, our work that's tied to our output versus the experience lens and that in which life is getting lived, not necessarily scored. And I think we even talked about this in another episode about the scoreboard and
Yep.
the competing in life. And I know I've shared this on here before and with you privately. I mean, social media has just really amped up, I think, our keeping score, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously. Um, because I was thinking back to when we actually last, for me at least, experienced life. I wasn't measuring it. I wasn't pushing for productivity or achievement.
Mm.
And you know what came to my mind? Sitting with Miss Hermie on her porch counting cars when we were little.
And shelling peas. Don't forget that. We always
Yes.
yeah,
But I mean
absolutely.
that could fall under the productivity category. I'm talking about sitting there doing
Oh, yeah, we weren't doing
nothing.
anything. We were just
We're
counting
just counting
cars.
cars. I mean that has been that memory has been playing over and over in my mind this last month and a half. Just the sheer enjoyment that came out of something that was so simplistic. And with the health issues that I've been experiencing, I was forced throughout most of February to do almost nothing. I mean, literally, I would get Chloe off to school and then I was back home and I was barely managing to stay upright and function. It was just one struggle after another. This past month really showed me how I could get done what needed to get done without doing that 110, 120% we were just talking about. I can still run a house without doing it at 120%. it's really forced me into reevaluating and asking myself how I am living my life. Am I not to look at it as what did I accomplish, but what did I experience? Because there were days where nothing got accomplished, but yet I could look back and say, oh, what I got to experience was I got to experience peace. I got to experience, I mean, you fill in the blank. I know not everyone, I'm glad not everyone has to go through this, particularly with the health issues. But I do believe even in your day to day living, if you could alter your viewpoint on how you look at your life, changing it from that measurement lens to the experience lens might produce a more peaceful outcome to where you're not constantly feeling like for me example like I would feel really really bad if I stayed in that measurement lens where okay I'm not measuring up to this, I am not fulfilling this, I am not completing this. But when I was able to stop that and look at it from what did I get to experience, it was a really big aha moment for me.
I have lived the entirety of my life in the measurement lens, the category number 1,
Same here.
and it felt like I got nowhere.
Mhm.
So the experience lens requires turning off the evaluation algorithm that's running in the
Yes.
background.
Yes. And
And
I've caught myself during this last month and a half, I have really tried to limit how much I got on social media. Because the minute I get on there, I'll see people doing this, people buying this, people just and they're just doing so much. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even get to shower today. I had no energy for that. And so shutting that off, or at least limiting it, and not letting myself get sucked into all the what ifs, all of the possibilities. And this there's a fine line here between I'm not saying don't have dreams, don't have growth, but I guess for the stage that I'm in, the state I'm in right now in my life, it was learning how to adapt, how to change that lens where I am not feeling like I am constantly having to measure everything in my life.
so what if we had dreams, ambitions that were growing out of lens number 2, the experience lens, rather than them being always in the bucket of number 1, the measurement lens, because that's the only thing I do not know what it's like. I think I said this earlier.
Mhm.
I do not know what it's like to pursue anything in my life out of pure joy. I only know how to pursue something out of, okay, I'm gonna get this done, I'll make my list, and I can go execute it. And then when I execute it, I can have a sense of happiness. I did it.
Think I would start with why are you doing what you're doing? Understanding that, understanding your motives, what's driving you. If it's if it's falling into that measurements lens, then it's going to conflict with the experience because you're going to constantly be pushing yourself to compare to what someone else is doing, how someone else is living, what someone else is accomplishing, or it could also just come down to what someone thinks of me versus being and doing just simply for the experience of that.
Glimpses I've had of myself through what you call the experience lens versus the measurement lens is a person that's entirely different than what I have known on the surface.
Okay.
I think there's a possibility that who I am, if we remove the measurement expectations, do this, do the accomplish this, get rid of all that, and
Mhm.
then we look too far, look far enough in there, and you see why I've been doing those, and we got rid of all of that. Brandon, you don't need to have that that drive because you're trying to, you're trying to appeal to other people. You're trying to make
Mhm.
yourself safe, but you're already safe. Whatever motivation's kicking in, let's get rid of that. That's not you. And we find out to the core of what I am. One few moments, I think I've gotten a glimpse of that person. is someone entirely different that I wouldn't recognize him. I might just be the person that doesn't do much, just
Why
as
can't that
content.
be enough? Like,
Well,
look
then
at it this
well, then
way.
well, then I never make enough money to have my own black market assassination militia group so I can rule the world. And then what a
Oh,
shame that would be.
oh my goodness. All right. But in all seriousness, I would say if no one could see your accomplishments, no, like, let's take social media
Yeah.
out,
Yeah,
take
yeah,
out
yeah, yeah, yeah.
friends, acquaintances, whatever. Take all of that off the table. No one knows what you do. No one sees your life. Would you still do what you're doing? Would you still be the way you are? Like, if everything is being done through that measurements lens, then you have to ask yourself, is it being done for the right reasons?
Well, we have to a lot of these questions are going to be impacted with most people by the economic factor. What have I got to do economically survive in whatever world or situation you're in? So
Sure.
if we took that factor away, and you say, Brandon, what would you boil down to? I wrote a book. One of my books I wrote was called Contentment and Misery,
Right.
and it was dealing with this topic. And I believe that I would absolutely do 100% nothing. I know for certain that the best year of my life was COVID.
You
I
took
never
the words
left.
right out of my mouth.
I never
Minus the
left.
deaths that occurred and the sickness that
Sure.
and the
I will. Yeah.
negativity that
Right. Right. Right.
impacted.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that aside, yes, that was the best year.
Thank you for interjecting that tactfulness, so I at least act like I care about other people. Yeah, you're right. I have sympathy and empathy. Yeah, but that was the best year of my life because I didn't do anything. I didn't go
Well,
anywhere. I
and
didn't see anybody.
but that was across the board because no one could do anything really. Everything was locked down, shut down. So there wasn't this pressure of, okay, I need to do this because everyone else is doing it, or if I don't do this, I'm missing out. No, no one else is doing it so there's no missing out. Um, I, I totally agree. Like, I did not feel like my doctors told me, just due to my compromised immune system, you got to shut yourself away. You're not to be in contact with anyone. Like, it was just me and Chloe because Jeremy was on deployment. And we were so isolated. I hated it for her, but it was the best time for me because I did not feel judged. I did not feel like I had to measure up to anyone else or produce and be as productive because everyone else was doing, like, yeah, totally. I totally agree. Best year.
Yes. Yes. I just can't believe the timing of all this because just having this conversation this morning with my wife, Gia. I've got to turn off the fear-based thought. If I don't get, if I don't get that degree, if I don't make that level of money, if I don't get this accolade, if I then, in my mind, I'm constantly racing against the clock. Clock's ticking. I'm 44, no longer 23. All
Mm,
right, so I got to really do something big with my life here and make it count. And I don't know how to get rid of the programming that's there. I don't know how to replace that because it's just like when I dropped that glass bottle and it shattered, and
mm-hmm.
those gut reactions that happen. It's not like I was choosing to have those thoughts. Those things are happening automatically, and they're
Yeah.
automatically inducing this feeling of complete stupidity and worthlessness. I don't know how to press pause enough to get rid of that thought process. And I can't be the only one that's going through this.
No.
And so what if people are going through this, but they got 3 or 4 kids to take care of and all these responsibilities, and life is just really stringing them out? You don't have the mental energy to do this much introspective work because it can be exhausting looking inward like this. And so you turn to temporary relief, addictions, whatever, just to drown out your sorrows, so to say.
Well,
Because
and
it's
I also think people in a lot of people in that situation, I don't think they have enough downtime to even sit with that. Because, I mean, if
Yes.
if you've got all those kids, you don't have a lot of downtime.
Right,
And
right, right.
I think a lot of people also probably working their butts off to make ends meet
Yep.
because of all the kids. I think a lot of this for you and me is more amplified because we have been fortunate to be blessed with spouses that have been able to provide a very comfortable lifestyle for us that has
Yeah.
allotted more time maybe on our hands. Um,
To just stew in that level
yeah,
of self-loathing. Welcome to the pits of despair.
yeah.
Well, that just makes it worse. So if and
If you
both of
take
us are
that
sharing so
theory, then you've got to be more busy doing and not just living.
yes, right. You saw where I was going with that, right?
Yeah.
So in order to be avoid depression, you got to be really busy, so you can't listen to the voices in your head. But if you stay real busy, then you're gonna start judging your output, and that's just gonna bring back more voices. So you got to choose which voices you listen to.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, my health really made me so really stop in my tracks this past month and a half. I know you've brought up people that have been even more misfortune in health issues, had handicap issues, more severity health than what you and I've even experienced. But even in that, I have to caution myself not to say, okay, just because they were able to do this, this, and this, they were able to overcome X, Y, and Z, then that means I should be able to also. Because then once again, I'm back to that measurement lens. So just because it worked for them, and I'm glad it did, that doesn't mean that I automatically am going to have this kick in the butt energy to be able to
Yeah.
power through the stuff that I'm going through.
Yep.
Um,
I agree.
so
So
yes, we
how do
can
we
use
reframe? How do we frame these questions so that we're not judging ourselves? How do we come to a place where we're okay with less productivity, being
I
okay
wrote this
with
down last night, and this is for me. I can't say it's going to be for everyone, but for me, it requires me to be secure and confident in who I am. Just notice I didn't say in what I do, but in who I am.
so
Because
how do you
who I
define who
am,
you are?
I, again, this is just some things I wrote down. What you do, I remember the 2 layers I was talking about. You got your
Yeah,
job, your achievements, productivity, your roles, whether it's spouse or sibling
right.
or
Yeah,
parent, whatever. Then those are observable, measurable, and even changeable. And then I
yeah,
went down
yeah,
to layer 2. That's who you are, not what you do. That's your internal.
yeah,
I got, and this is for me personally, your capacity. Your capacity to experience life. That's going to vary for everyone. Your awareness, your presence, your values, how you relate to others, these are not visible always.
no, no,
They're not measurable, but
no.
these make up who you are.
So it's an awareness, not a measurement of something that I am. It's awareness. It
Yes.
can't entirely be quantified, but it has to be experienced. So we
But
have to,
I think throughout life, growing up, everything gets quantified. Even as a child, you're rated on like how well you do at school, A, B, C, D, whatever. At a job, you're rated. So of course that you've got that mentality. So of course you're going to carry that over into your relationships. Okay, how am I rated in my relationship? Oh, I hate to use the word mindset because I feel like we use that on every episode, but it
then just change it and use set of mind. Okay, what I am not is not funny. What I am is a little silly.
oh,
Well, how do you take someone like me and help that person experience the now rather than judging the now? And you can apply this to both positive and negative experiences. You know, your lens, you talked about not measuring. you can learn how do you value the negative experiences because there's something there that you're experiencing.
Well, and
Ugh.
I feel like it also has to do with the people that are in your life. Like, for example, when I've had segments throughout my life where my health has been at its worst, and I tend to really seclude myself in those moments for a couple of reasons. One, I don't feel like a lot of what I experience, people really know how to understand it because to look at me, you can't see
Yeah,
anything that's wrong.
right, right.
But on the inside, oh my goodness.
Yes.
And when I get to a point where I have to really limit my output and my
Uh-huh.
productivity, I have a really hard time engaging with people outside of my immediate family because they call up their first thing is, "So, what you been up to?" And when in my mind I'm like, "Okay, how do I justify?" I'm running this calculator almost in my head, this algorithm of how do I justify what I'm going through? How do I explain it to where I don't sound like I'm just laying around doing nothing all day long? Like I have a
Yeah.
I have a hard time with that. I mean, even sometimes our mother will call and she'll be like, "So how are you?" And I've gotten a lot better at just being, "Okay, it's not good. It's just not a good day." Or it's not a good
Yeah.
week. I've stopped trying to hide behind this facade of everything's okay because that in itself is exhausting. And then I feel like, okay, I've
Yeah.
got to justify and explain why I'm not doing this and this and this.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I tell you what, the implications of this are so profound. I don't know which rabbit trail to go down, and so I'm process. I think there's a whole episode we could have a talk with people that are in this category. They're not the materialistic category, but they know that hey, I'm a created entity and I'm very spiritually oriented. This performance deal.
mhm,
If people are going down this route of faith, pursuit of the divine, boy, we just opened up a whole different bag there when we talk about people's concept of the divine, and we're seeing it through the lens of the measurement metrics lens. How much am I doing? And that this my brain keeps going there, and I'm trying not to go there, but that that I think that's deeply. I think it's what the where I'm at right now
mm,
is we come from such a strong religious background,
right.
and here I am at 44, done a lot of studies in theology, and I don't think I can fully say that I understand what faith is. When
Okay.
my entire religious experience was there's those set of rules,
Mhm.
and I must be a highly spiritual individual because my output has been in compliance with those rules. Therefore, I'm a highly spiritual individual. And I think the last 20 years of experiences, both good and not so good, have left me at a place where I don't know what true faith is. Granted, we just went down the rabbit trail, right? I don't know what that is. I don't know about what does because when you start down that road here of pursuit of faith and the divine,
Mhm.
your performance lens has been the basis for your understanding of love. I'm safe because I'm measuring up to something. And if we apply that in the context of our religious background with those spiritual implications, that can be highly, highly profound that someone doesn't understand unconditional love. Unconditional love is not based upon the performance. And what did John say in First John? The perfect love casts out all fear. Fear of my performance being inadequate. And I can tell you that my life has been nothing but fear. Down to if I go to the grocery store and I don't have my best outfit on, and I did it's amazing what I'm uncovering about how much fear has been in my life, which is tied into this metrics lens that you or measurement lens that you have, talked so eloquently talked about. And so I don't have an easy answer on how do you practice a life that doesn't need, to prove itself. And, I like a quote you got there from the philosopher that said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, Chloe was on spring break and spent some time down at our mother's. And so Jeremy and I just spontaneously were like, he still had to work, but
Yeah.
we went and rented a lake house. We wanted just to get away. I needed a different environment.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I sat there next to the lake. Jeremy had to go to work, and I sat there by myself for probably a good 6 hours. Complete silence. Just me sitting there crocheting in the silence. I mean, obviously nature. And it was the most rejuvenating. Like, I remember, I think it was you. You may have texted me, or it may have been mom. I can't remember. It was you asking me how I was feeling. And I was just like, how is it that I was like in such a bad place physically, and now I just feel like so much more rejuvenized. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Um,
Do you ever have moments where you look at how complicated and whirly twirly these thoughts are we have inside?
mhm.
Given our current blessings, we're not living in Iran right now that's getting bombed back to the Middle
Oh, yeah.
Ages. We're not in an iron lung and can't breathe on our own.
Mhm.
We're not destitute. And I have these moments where I'm like, if I'm battling this much anxiety and depression all day long, and I have this much going for me, what is wrong with me that I can't just relax and enjoy life? And then when, God forbid, so I get on a social media page and someone has really, really worse off than I am, and they're just sitting there smiling
That's
and
where
just
your
happy as a
measurement
lark.
lens was gonna kick in.
Yeah, it is.
I think prior to the internet, social media, all of that, yes, we all had our daily struggles, but I do believe that there was less pressure to produce, less pressure to, I hate to use the word compete, but I was just looking back at our childhood. I mean, I know dad worked really hard, which, I mean, he had um,
Yeah.
to make ends meet. And I think you and I were even talking about like midlife crisis, and so many people in our current age bracket being really miserable with their current state of life, whether it's their career or where the direction that they're headed in. And I I just felt like our parents' generation, they may have been miserable at times, but there wasn't this constant reevaluation of, oh, should I go down this path, or should I redo this, or should I try to tackle this new career choice? I mean, no, they did their job, they lived, and now ever since I've known Jeremy, he's been very fortunate in the jobs that he's had, but he's always had like this nagging sense of like, oh, should I have done this? Should I go do this instead? I mean, he's tried out law school stuff. He's tried medical school. He's been in the military for 11 years. I mean, he's tried various different things. And so I feel like our generation, I mean, I really hate to see how Chloe's generation is going to end up being, but I feel like our generation in particular, there is just an overall of uncertainty and discontent.
Decision fatigue. You have so many more choices.
Yes, that's an
And
I've got another episode outlined for that.
oh,
So,
good. Oh, fantastic. Well, let's
yeah.
go down that. We won't go down that route
Mhm.
today. But I think social media has heightened
Yes.
the external cues for an increased fear of missing out because I'm made more aware of more options that are out there.
Mhm. Yep.
All right. So this has been a nice, interesting prep talk on the need to turn off the internal dialogue that's constantly measuring myself. A side note, do you think that there are people out there that are not tormented with these type of internal dialogues?
Possibly, but I think they're gonna be so busy that they don't even have time to think about it.
Or there, I have run across things in my studies of people who do not have internal thoughts. They don't have audible thoughts like you and I do. Like I can hear
Yeah,
voice, not
yeah.
audible voices, but there's voices track multiple going at the same time, and
Mhm.
those people are just I don't have that. And so there's a part of me that just goes, "What? You don't?
Yeah,
You have nothing going on?
yeah.
No." And 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 so you're
Jeremy and Chloe sort of fall into that category a little bit, I think. Um,
I mean, what kind of bliss is that? I mean, I can't go to sleep at night because my nightmares are so horrible almost
mm,
every night because the turmoil inside that's going on over nothing. And
yeah.
it's like, dear God, I mean, I can understand if I was living in a war-torn environment and why I had PTSD, but no, I ain't got no excuse like that. I'm just cooking all this stuff on my own in my head. That's some serious talent. I can
I
create storylines that don't exist, and then have anxiety over storylines that don't ever will exist because I made them up in my head.
I do think a lot of one's childhood does impact the way
Yeah,
that we
we all know that.
process
Yeah,
things.
man. At some point, you got to own your own little existence and figure out how in the world do I bring every thought into captivity, to quote Paul, so to say, and
Well, I
find
think
this inner peace.
I think the challenge in regards to this particular topic, trying to bring it back, is how do we resist the urge to constantly measure ourselves? For me, I've learned a simple thing is staying off social media. Because once I get on there, I feel like I'm falling short in so many ways. And so staying off social media is one thing I know is a little sort of a quick fix for me in regards to how to prevent myself from going down that measuring lens rabbit hole. I think another thing is having an open conversation with your spouse, if assuming you're married, your partner, whoever you're sharing your life with, having them understand where you're coming from, what your goals are, what your limitations are, and them being on board with and accepting of who you are as you are, and you having that faith and believing in them, taking them at their word. Because you know me and you. I mean, we will hear one thing, and we're going to be reading between all those little lines. I say all this really speaking to myself for myself of it's I've had so many conversations with Jeremy about, "I'm sorry, I couldn't get this done this time." He's like, "Babe, just take it easy." I mean, he's just like he's so
I do.
supportive, so encouraging of
Yes,
that, and I'm over here, like, feeling like I've got to do more to prove myself, to prove my worth. "No, babe, you're fine just like that, just the way you are. Sit there. I mean, I'll go take care of this." And it's just so reassuring when I have those conversations with him because it is just it's like the opposite of dad's voice in my head. And so I have I've just struggled with that inner tug of war for so long. And it's just been so I really don't have the words to explain how grateful I am for the partner that I have in the life that I have because of him.
well,
Oh,
it's interesting that I don't try most of the time to be offensive, but I'm such a socially awkward individual that what I think sounds funny, it sounds really funny in my head. It just comes across as we don't know how to process that. You should. I mean, I've
Mm,
done that in job interviews, and the people just stare at me, and I'm like, I thought that was funny. It's not funny. They don't know how to process it. So I
yeah.
do. You have a lot more formality about you, and so I could tell you as a sister, going, "Oh, he's just said something. Oh,
No,
I got
it's more
I
like,
got
"Oh, what do I say now?"
That's it.
There are
Now
no
there's
words.
there's sometimes sometimes I tap into that and I have a lot of fun with that.
Uh,
I really, really do. And I do it on purpose and watch the color drain from people's eyes because they do not know how to respond.
mm.
And I love everyone's. Well, I've done this a time or two. My wife wasn't around because she wouldn't allow me to do it. But in a serious moment, what's your goals in life? To die as quickly as possible. And watch them. It's great. It's great, man. Yes, because I'm like, why should I want to live? If I die, I have no bills to pay, I have no people to deal with, and I have no stupid thoughts in my head.
Mm.
And then they look at me. Then they realize I'm not a crazy individual. I'm just speaking the thing out loud that most people dare don't even think. Because now I'm dealing with
Okay.
existential angst.
If you're going to take that approach, then my question is, why keep trying so hard? Like, literally, it's like
I wish all 10 of our viewers actually had seen the movie from which that quote comes from. They would know why I laugh every time you say that, because I just
Yes.
got Jerry Lewis in my head. Don't try so
Try
hard.
so hard.
So hard. This is really fun. Oh no, not the kidneys.
Oh my goodness.
Tell her about the
Alright.
leg. Oh, the leg's a doozy. Tell her about the leg.
Alright, so if you're looking for an activity that has no measurable return, go watch The Disorderly Orderly.
That is the most stupid, because I watched it a few years ago. My God, I'm so embarrassed from what we thought was comedy as a kid, because
But
it was
here
just
we are
still
mimicking
laughing about it.
Oh my goodness.
It's so bad, it's sad. This is our level, and that may be a contribution as to why I think funny doesn't come across as funny, because that was my source of humor. That's interesting.
Well, and if humor's coming from a place of
Deep
um
cynicism is even
and
worse.
a insecurity maybe or a coping
No, yeah.
mechanism deflecting,
Yes.
then I don't know
Yes.
if
All of
your
that.
mind's if your mind's gonna like trace through all of the results of what is about to be said and how that's gonna come across.
Oh, I don't have the brain power for that. I just have the brain power to eloquently say what nobody else wants to say.
Well,
By the time
Chloe,
you get through with me,
she told me she came home from school and she's like, "Oh," she's like, "I pulled a Mimi." I was like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Yeah, I said something. I shouldn't have said it." I was like, "Why'd you say it?" She's like, "Well, it sounded funny in my head at the time." I was like, "Well, maybe next time think about it before you say it." She's like, "You don't get me."
I do. I got enough.
She's like, "Ask Uncle Brandon. He will understand."
That's great. I'm so glad she said it, because I have enough of our mother in me
Oh.
to understand that, where I got so many words, I got to get them out.
Yes.
And
Well,
yes,
I told her, I was like, "Well, maybe you just shouldn't say it." She's like, "Well, if I didn't, I would never speak."
oh boy. Oh
Maybe
boy.
that is a good place to some degree. I mean, she lives in that moment, whereas me, I'd be like running this algorithm. Okay, if I say this, this is going to happen. They're going to respond this way, and I'm just like processing all the potential fallouts from what I
It's like a
could.
chess game. Yeah.
Yes, But I mean,
Mhm.
what the question comes back to, what if we resist that urge to constantly measure ourselves? I mean, and I don't mean to say anything without any guard or filter, but
Quote, Chloe, I wouldn't have a thought. I don't know what to replace those thoughts with. I don't know how
yeah.
to turn that off. I don't know how to just, be in the moment. Because my
Mm.
brain is so addicted to the ongoing chess game that's in here that I don't know how to turn it off. And the
I
only
think
times
it's
I
going to
can turn it
come.
off.
I think it's going to come from, is I've noticed even with what I was referencing earlier with the social media, I will immediately feel my inner self say, okay, oh, you should be doing this, or you need to do this to make this better in your life. This constant need to improve, or whatever the case may be. I'm like, no, I'm not listening to this today. I just shut it off. I
Uh,
think that's where it's going to come from. Forcing yourself to shut that off and not allow yourself to go back into that measurement lens. And I
mm.
think it's an ongoing daily, all throughout the day struggle to where you just have to constantly, intentionally turn that off and say, I'm doing this because this is who I am. This is what I want to do. This is XYZ. Living a life as if no one else is watching. I think that's what it comes down to.
That's the life I live because I don't know anybody. Nobody knows me. But I'm concerned about all the people in my head that are watching me.
Shut it off. Say not today. I'm not. Even if it's there, you can acknowledge that it's there. Okay, I know you're there, but I'm choosing this because of X, Y, and Z, and not letting whatever's going on in here dictate what you do, how you live that life experience lens.
By George, I feel like I've been to church. There we go.
Mm.
Living like this is interesting. Remember that story of Jesus with Mary and Martha? When Martha
Mhm.
was concerned, Mary's not helping me clean the
Mhm.
house.
Mhm.
Martha
Mhm.
was zeroed in on that performance. Mary was
Yep.
just simply being, yeah, boy, oh boy. Huh. Wonder how many more years it's going to take where I can say, yeah, I got this down pat, or is this a permanent struggle that's tied in with my identity, where it's just going to be attenuated. If I'm lived to be 92 years old and my body can't move as much as it is now, and I'm stuck, can't perform, and y- wow,
I think it's going to be a constant struggle, but I think once you get in the habit of saying, I'm not listening to this, I'm going to be experiencing this because X, Y, and Z,
yes,
I think you will develop that habit to where it's going to be like you're not noticing it as a struggle so much. It's not always running in the foreground for you. That's my
yeah,
theory.
I
But
got a lot to think
I
about.
think it's going to take a daily conscientious intentional decision of turning that off. By doing so, you're acknowledging it's there. You're not in denial of it, but you're choosing not to let it dictate how you are going to live your performance or your
Yep.
experience. So I think maybe the real challenge, I mean, it's not figuring out how to prove our worth. Maybe it's learning how to live without constantly having to measure it.
And maybe life is good for something quieter, just simply being here, showing up, and discovering that our
Mm.
existence doesn't need to prove itself to matter.
Yeah. Well, let's think of just one small act that we can do today. Something that we do just because. No return, no proof needed. And notice the value in that. The value in just being. This is life.
Mm.
What is it good for?